What's up, guys? It's Collin. Today we're back in the sales department. We're talking all about cloudiness in fish tanks. All right, so let's get into it. There's four main types of cloudiness you'll commonly see in the home aquarium. The first type of cloudiness is what we would call an algae bloom or an algal bloom. This is often seen as a green or a brownish clouding of the water. One of the main indications of this can be checking your water quality. So if your water is really high in phosphates or silicates, or if we have a photo period, meaning our lights are on for a really long time of day. Most of the times I recommend keeping your lights on anywhere from 6 to 8 hours per day. A lot of folks leave their lights on 12 to 14 hours a day, and of course most algae are photosynthetic, so this causes a big problem. So this is the most common culprit of that green water. Now there are some common products you can get like algicides and things like that, but in my opinion it's generally easier to just treat the source, which would be excessive amounts of light or having excessive phosphates or silicates. If you use tap water in our area especially, it can come out of the tap with a huge amount of silicates already. So that might be one consideration. If you keep having issues with algae blooms, you might consider switching to like reverse osmosis or distilled water, and then remineralizing it with a product like Chem Replenish. So the next type of cloudiness would often be what's called a bacterial bloom. And most commonly you'll see this in the home aquarium when you have a really hazy or white cloudy water. One of the primary indications of this is if it's a newly established system, meaning that the tank hasn't been running for that long. That can be definitely a big culprit. In most situations, this will clear up naturally on its own within a week or two of cycling. However, if this continues to be a problem, you can use a product like Clarity from Chem. That's a deflocculant. What that basically means is it makes all those, what you're seeing in that water column is actually all the cell walls and debris from the bacteria's rapid growth and expansion. What that deflocculant product is going to do is cause those to bind together so they can more easily be removed by your mechanical filtration, like your sponge or your intake cover from your filter. The next type of cloudiness we would commonly see in the home aquarium is the direct result of substrates. So a lot of times when folks get a new substrate, and sand tends to be a major culprit of this, if you don't properly rinse the product prior to installation in the home aquarium, a lot of times for anywhere from 48 to 72 hours following the installation, you're gonna have like a smoky haze in the water, and a lot of that is those super fine sand particles. If they're not rinsed out initially, they're gonna be suspended in the water column until your mechanical filtration can get it out. Most likely you'll see this with like a white sand, that sugar fine sand, or aragonite sands or things like that. And a lot of times if you don't rinse those products really well, they're just gonna get kicked around. One tip to prevent this, when you are filling up your home aquarium, I usually recommend you place a saucer or some sort of empty bowl in the bottom of the tank. That way you pour water directly into that. It kind of prevents that washing machine effect you see, and it doesn't stir up the sediment as much. And then the last type of cloudiness or discoloration you would see in a home aquarium is often the result of what's called tannins. So tannins are chemicals that are naturally found in many wood products basically, and this is where you're often going to see tanks where they have that iced tea color or just that hint of gold to the water column. Now tannins do two things. They soften the pH, so they lower your pH slightly, and they also kind of help to condition your fish's slime coats, basically ability to regenerate itself. So although some people find these unsightly, tannins can actually be a great addition to your tank, especially if you have a South American tank with lots of plecos, or you have saltwater fish like neon tetras or rams, things like that. Some people don't necessarily like the look of a blackwater tank, but with this type of cloudiness or discoloration, the primary method to remove it is actually going to be chemical filtration and water changes. So if you have a piece of Mopani wood or other Malaysian driftwood that's really discoloring your tank, the most successful thing you're going to do is do water changes weekly, and then you can also add chemical filtration media. So for example, carbon will pull that material out. Keep in mind though, carbon has a lifespan of about anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months. So once it's up, it's completely used up. You do have to replace that quite frequently. And if it's a particularly large piece of wood, you might be chasing these tannins for a month. So just be prepared for that. If you want an option that doesn't add any tannins to your tank, I would definitely recommend either using spiderwood or some mangrove root. Those are both great options that are both pH neutral, and they're also not going to influence your tank with any tannin content. If you have any questions, be sure to reach out to us or ask an associate in store. Have a great day.